Today we're going through the complete guide on how to grow your chest. We're going to go over 4 huge mistakes that you're making in your program right now, plus how to fix those mistakes. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give you 3 new chest exercises that you can add to your program so you can start seeing better progress in your chest. So stay for the whole video. This is going to be the full guide on how to grow your chest. Follow each step, and at the end of the video, you're going to know exactly what to do and start seeing more progress in your chest at the gym. Now, before we hop into our first mistake, a lot of the progress that you're going to see in the gym is going to come through nutrition. And if you're not eating for your goals, you're shooting yourself in the foot and you're really selling yourself short on all the progress and the hard work that you're doing in the gym. So we need to make sure that we're eating for those goals, whether your goal is to lose weight, gain weight, maintain weight, whatever your goal is, you need to make sure that your nutrition is in line with those goals. So what I'm going to offer you today is a free macro calculation. I'll tell you exactly how many carbs, fat, protein that you need to eat to reach your goal. I left a link down in the comment section below where you can fill out a form, and I'll do the rest. I'll tell you how many carbs, fat, protein that you need to be eating in order to reach your goal so that you can start seeing better progress in the gym. Now, the first biggest mistake that I see people making when they're trying to grow their chest is that they do not overload. When you come into the gym, and if you're just trying to get a pump in your chest and you're just trying to do a bunch of reps and 10 different chest exercises, and if your chest day looks like a to-do list, you need to make a change. We need to be focusing on progressive overload, and we can really overload in a lot of different ways. A lot of times people think that adding weight is the only way that it can overload. And yes, that is one foundational way that we can overload our muscles so that we can build new muscle tissue. But there are a couple different ways that we can overload our muscle. Adding weight each week and getting stronger over time is one huge way that we can overload. Another way that we can overload is by increasing the time under tension. So instead of doing 1 second down, 1 second up, we could play around with eccentrics where we're slowing the reps down on the eccentric and then powering through that concentric. So say that the rep takes 4 seconds, it gives you more time under tension, which is going to cause more muscle breakdown. We can also decrease our rest time in between sets, which is going to place more emphasis and more fatigue on the chest or any muscle group that you're hitting. And we can even add things like supersets and drop sets in order to really increase the intensity and increase the overload. The biggest thing that I want you to think about is there needs to be some sort of progression. If you're doing the same workout, or you're doing the same order of exercises, or you're doing the same weights every single week, your body will not build muscle. We have to come into the gym, and the gym is really the stimulus to build new tissue. What we do that 24 to 72 hours post-workout is what really leads to new progress and new muscle tissue and growing back and building stronger. But first, we need to make sure that we're providing that stimulus for our body to grow. So the first biggest mistake that I see is not overloading. There's coming in, pumping reps, pumping up the chest, doing 10 different exercises. Make sure that there's actually progress and make sure that each exercise has a purpose in your program. The second biggest mistake that I see is people are always doing the same exact angle or the same exact exercise or the same exact grip of an exercise. So what I mean by this is one of the most classic exercises for people to grow their chest and focus on getting stronger is the flat barbell bench press. And maybe you do a flat bench press and then you go over to the dumbbells and you do a flat dumbbell press. After your dumbbell press, you come over and you do a cable crossover straight across the chest. These are all coming from the same exact angle, and you're only going to train part of the chest. What we need to do is we need to mix up our grips and change our angles in order to develop our chest fully. So if you're doing a flat press or a fly, make sure that you're implementing an incline motion. Or if you're doing a cable fly and you always do them straight across the chest, you can change the angle by changing the cable from coming low to high, which is going to emphasize the upper chest a little bit more, or you can even change the angle to come high to low, which is going to emphasize the lower chest a little bit more. By doing this, you're going to train all the different muscle fibers in your chest, and it's going to give you the best potential to grow and build a well-balanced and well-developed chest. The third biggest mistake that I see people make is always training in the same rep range, and typically that rep range is really low reps. When people come in, they're trying to get stronger and build muscle, they think that they have to lift super heavy, and yes, to a certain degree, you do need to get stronger, and we do want to play around with heavy weights. But we don't want to spend every single set in the gym in a really low rep range. What we need to do is we need to have a variety of rep ranges. So towards the beginning of the workout, yes, you're going to stick to more of your compound movements, focusing on strength. You might be somewhere in that 5 to 8 rep range. As the workout progresses, maybe you're implementing more isolation or accessory movements like dumbbell work, cable movement, even machines, and you might increase those reps anywhere from like 8 to 12. Towards the end of the workout, when we're starting to fatigue, there's no purpose of lifting in that low rep range. You might even increase your reps up to 12 to 20 reps. There's a lot of benefit in training anywhere from 5 to 20 reps for your chest, and we want to make sure that we're getting a variety of different rep ranges to maximize the benefits that we'll see in our chest. Now, the last one that we're going to get into before I get to 3 new exercises that you can add to your program is the fourth mistake. And this mistake is volume. Having too much, having too little, we need to make sure that we have enough volume in our program in order to see progress in our chest. And there's people on both sides of the spectrum on this. Like I talked about in the first example, some people come in and they hit their chest once a week and they destroy it with 10 different exercises. Say they do 3 sets on each exercise, that gives you 30 total sets of chest per week. And that's a really high volume in the first place, and it's a really high volume for one day of workout. And what I would say to that person is make sure that you are having purpose and intensity with each set and each exercise, and you could even cut that in half and you would see way better progress. Or someone on the other side of the spectrum, where they're only focusing on strength work and their only chest exercise is a barbell bench press, and maybe they do that a couple times a week. Maybe they get less than 10 sets a week. That's not going to be enough to grow your chest and build new tissue. So the sweet spot for your chest is really going to be anywhere from 10 to 20 sets per week. Now, what I would do is I would divide this throughout the week, minimum of 2 different sessions. So say that you're doing 20 sets of chest a week, you would have one day where you're going to train chest and you're going to have about 10 sets, and the other day you're going to have another 10 sets. It's going to be 20 total sets throughout the week. That's where you're going to have the most amount of benefit. That's the upper range of volume that I would recommend. That's going to allow you to accrue enough volume throughout the week in order to build new tissue and create that stimulus that I talked about. Having an adequate volume in our program is one of the biggest things that we need to look at, that we don't want to go over the volume. So we don't want to be doing 30 plus sets of chest a week. We also don't want to go lower than 10. We need to have an adequate amount of volume in order to give our body a reason to build new tissue and build a bigger chest. All right, so we're finally going to get into the 3 new exercises that you can add into your program that are going to help you build a bigger chest. And the first exercise is taking the principle of eccentrics and overload and really taking advantage of that. This exercise is an eccentric dumbbell fly with a press to get those dumbbells back up. And this is really going to overload your muscles, and this is what I was talking about when we overload. We want to take a look at finding exercises that are not just your straight barbell press or your straight dumbbell press or your cable crossover or your chest fly or your push-up. Finding exercises and ways that we can take advantage of eccentric overload, which is really going to provide that stimulus. So on this exercise, what you're going to do, you're going to load up anywhere from 10 to 15 pounds more than you could do on a strict fly. From here, what you're going to do is you're going to slowly lower those flies, whether you're doing flat or incline or whatever variation of fly you're doing. You want to slowly lower those dumbbells anywhere from 4 to 5 seconds on the rep. Then you're going to bring those dumbbells back into your chest and you're going to press it right back up just to get those dumbbells back up. Now the press should be fairly easy, but by the time you go through 4 to 5 seconds on that eccentric on the fly, your chest muscles should be fatiguing. And that's the goal, is we want to overload in the eccentric, which is going to cause more muscle breakdown, is going to cause more muscle growth over time. Now, huge disclaimer with this exercise. Do not throw a ton of weight and really focus on letting your shoulders round forward. We want to keep this strict. So yes, we're lifting heavier than we'd be able to on the concentric on a fly, but we never want to lose control of that weight, and we never want to go so heavy that we're using other muscle groups in order just to move the weight or lower down slowly. So keep it under control. Make sure that if you add weight or if you increase weight, you are able to, and you're able to keep that dumbbell under control. The second and third one are actually supersets, and these are great supersets that you can add into your program that are really going to help stimulate a lot of new growth in your chest. So the second exercise, like I said, is a superset. We're going to superset a bench press with a push-up. And this is a great way that you can take your program and you can flip it on its head and you can provide a new stimulus for your chest muscles to grow. So with this one, this is going to be done more towards the beginning of the workouts. You're going to keep your bench press heavy, whether it's a barbell or a dumbbell. You're still going to challenge yourself for 8 to 10 reps. After you're done with that, you're going to go down to the ground and you can complete 8 to 10 reps on a push-up. Now, what that's going to do is that's going to accrue a little bit more volume. It's also going to place a little bit more fatigue and emphasis on the chest, and it's going to help you break down more muscle tissue, which is going to help to lead to more growth down the road. Like I said, this is a great one that you can add more towards the beginning of the workout. You can even use it as a finisher at the end of the workout, but the way that I like to do this is maybe you're hitting chest twice a week. One day's your really heavy day. This is a really good way that you can add this into your program that can be more volume-based, more hypertrophy-based, and really focus on driving a lot of blood in the muscle, creating a lot of muscle breakdown, and helping you grow a bigger chest. Now, the third and final one, again, is a superset. And this is a great one that we can add at the end of the workouts. This can be done with dumbbells or cables, and this is going to be a cable or dumbbell fly supersetted with a cable or dumbbell press. And this is a great one that we can really use to just finish off the muscle. When we leave the gym, We don't want to leave saying, oh, I could have done another 10 sets of an exercise, or that was easy, I think I could have done more. We want to make sure that we're providing that stimulus and we are fatigued, and that is going to help lead to progress. So this is a really good one to do it. You're going to start off, and what I like to do is keep the reps a little bit higher on this one. You're going to do anywhere from 10 to 15 reps on a fly. And by 10 to 15, it should be pretty much fatigued. You shouldn't be able to do more reps. And if you can, then you're going to increase weights. After you're done with that 10 to 15, you're going to use that same exact weight, whether it's a cable or a dumbbell, and you're going to go right into 10 to 15 really strict presses. Now, with this superset, I always say, use an appropriate weight to where you can help develop that mind-muscle connection and focus on just using your chest. So we don't want to let the weights let our shoulders round forward and we're using too much weight, we're just using our shoulders. The goal is to grow the chest and fatigue the chest. So with that, pick an appropriate weight that allows you to get a good solid squeeze and actually use your chest on each rep. The money with this superset is after you're done with your 10 to 15, really sticking to a low to moderate rest time. So what I like to do is I like to take no more than 1 minute rest. What that does is that doesn't allow you to fully recover. And that's really what I was talking about in step number 1 when we were talking about overloading. Yes, weight is a really good way to overload, but also decreasing that rest time fatigues the muscle even more, and it tells it that it needs to build new tissue. So this is a great superset that you can really use at the end of the workouts. What I'd recommend is doing 3 to 4 sets. This is a great way that by the end of this, you should know where to put your arms, your chest should be cramping. This is a really good way to provide that stimulus and finish off your chest workout to help you build a bigger, better chest. So if you guys enjoyed that video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the content that I'm posting weekly. Like I said, a huge part of the progress that we see in the gym is through your nutrition. And if you haven't gone down to the comment section, make sure you go in that comment section, click on that link, fill out that form, and I will get back to you and tell you exactly how many carbs, fat, protein that you need to be eating to reach your goal. I'll leave a video for you to watch here next. Make sure you go check that one out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.